do for self, it only means, you can only know what it means depending upon who you're talking to. You know? Now let's look at doing for self from a nationalist perspective. Let's break it down. Let's get specific with this. Do for self from a nationalist perspective means this. We're talking about the collective of our people. So let's just say, for the sake of our argument, we're talking about descendants of the transatlantic slave trade here in America. We'll just deal with America. That's where I am. What does do for self mean in the context of that if you're talking to me, a nationalist, or anybody else? Well, do for self means doing for every single aspect, everything that it requires to take care of a people. That's what we mean by doing for self. If you really want to know what it means, just look at your existence here in America. Now, in America, you can get on Facebook and you can be pro-black. You can be revolutionary. You know, you can have the feds watching you and, you know, everything that comes with all of that, you know, that people love. But the reality is that you have to live somewhere. So where do you live? Do you live in an apartment? Do you live in a house? Or do you live on a bench out in the street? As a revolutionary, Black Power revolutionary, Black Power American, where do you live? Where do you lay your head down? Do you pay rent to anybody? Are you living off of somebody? Like, oh, that's another one. Because this is something, a dynamic that occurred back in the 90s. You have people who will put out all this rhetoric against the system, you know, against white supremacist system and blah, 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 blah. And they'll take people to task for having jobs, take people to task for all of this stuff and engaging in this system. But yet, what they'll do is they'll have a person as a buffer who actually is in the system that they live off of. Like a lot of dudes and a lot of so-called scholars back in the days used to do this. What you have is you, as the Black Power American, you don't have a job. You know, you selling books, CDs, tapes, oils, whatever the hell you sell. And your wife or your mate is working for corporate America. So she's the buffer. She can get the loans, you know, pay the rent, do all this stuff, and you can play your little Black Power American thing, you know, using her as a buffer and hiding behind her. You know, I know a lot of people don't know about that trick, but it's one that's going on. There's a lot of people that played it. A lot of people are pro-black, raising the fist. Oh, this system, and you got to do for self, and da-da-da-da-da. But they got somebody, a mate or somebody, or a family member that's serving as that buffer that's firmly involved in the system so that they're able to have food, clothing, and shelter. Now, what do you think that is? Is that keeping it real? Or is that being full of shit? Is that being disingenuous? I think it's being disingenuous, personally. Oh, let me open up the chat room. I'm sorry, y'all. Let me open up the chat. I'm very sorry. I totally forgot about it. But yeah. So we're talking about, you know, that's an aside, what I just talked about. Now, also, do for self means on a practical level. Now, how do you take care of your people here in America? You got 44 million black people. What does do for self mean? Well, no. You know what? I'm not going to do that because that kind of like conflicts with my thoughts on nationhood in general for the 44 million in here. Because like I always say, the vast majority of black folks in America are going to stay in America. There's only going to be a small percentage of black folks who go to the continent and establish the nation state. So I don't want to conflict with that. This is just basically a thought experiment, basically. When a nationalist talks about doing for self here in America, what they think about is the total socio-economic and political infrastructure of the land that they're living in. They're thinking about the land. They're talking about the land. They're talking about empowerment. They're talking about controlling the land so that you can control the policy on the land. They're talking about having a government so you can govern yourselves on the land. Now, here in America, do black folks have a government of their own? No. Do black folks have a land of their own? No. And even if you're claiming to be, from the Wasikta tribe and Native American, do you have land of your own here in America? Now, keep in mind, when I say of your own, we're talking about your people within the context of nation, of a nationalist. Do you have your own land here in America? Whether you say you came here, you was here first, and all that other BS, do you have land of your own as a people here in America? No, you do not. And I'm telling you, the tribes that do have land are the tribes that have, land set aside for their particular tribe, reservations. They're fighting hard body to keep your black ass out of the mix. So even if you were here first, the people that have the land don't think that you were here first. So that's a problem that you guys got to deal with, not us black nationalists or Africans, as we say. Now, what else does that mean? It means control of the roads, the highways, the tolls, the electricity. So all the electrical lines that's above ground and the electrical lines underground. The gas piping that's underground. All of that. The transportation. What's the transportation infrastructure? Who controls it? What's the irrigation system? What's the system that can convert your waste and stuff and separate the waste from the water that you can use? This is stuff we think about. See, the reason why I think that there's a schism is because of two factors. Two factors. One of them is who you're talking to, whether you're talking to a landlord or a tenant, or I should say a nationalist or an individualist. And the other factor is one wants to do work and the other doesn't. The other one is just lazy and wants to leave the responsibility of maintaining a society to their enemy. But at the same time want to claim that their enemy is the worst thing in the world, and, they're using the devil and this and all of these negative attributes to describe their enemy, but you trust your enemy with your drinking water. Does that make any sense on any planet? You trust your enemy with your drinking water. You trust your enemy with protecting you at night. You don't want your own defense. You want to live under your enemy's defense because you feel safe with your enemy protecting you. See, these are the reasons why black nationalists get so frustrated, like myself, and the reason why we're banging our heads against the wall wondering why are we doing what we're doing, because we only, luckily for us, we have a small group of ourselves that we can look to for fuel and gasoline. Because if we try to go out here and espouse these ideas to the masses of people or to the people that are in direct contradiction to what we're doing and actually, being hostile toward us, we would quit. And a lot of us think about quitting too, because we don't have a circle of people that we could be around to, help nourish us and help us move forward. So, that's the basic premise of what I'm talking about. It's like do for self means one thing to an individualist and another thing to a nationalist. So the question is, which one are you? When we have this discussion, are we talking about individualists or are we talking about the collective? And if we're talking about the collective, then why is the individualist even involved in the discussion, especially when they've made it,
I want to ask
quote unquote?
you, just a question related to the show topic about doing for self.
What does do for self mean to you?
Being able to control the context of your reality, simply put.
Now, does that mean, because we were talking about it earlier, and I was saying that do for self could mean different things to whoever you're talking to. Like some people, like when you listen to Sarge, he's looking at do for himself from a total individualist standpoint.
Yes.
When you talk to a nationalist, we're looking at it from a collective standpoint, like are people doing for self?
Exactly.
And that's why these conversations get so frustrating. That's my opinion.
Well, you know, the thing with Sarge, have you ever, like if you got a chance to ask him a question, one thing I'll give to him is this, and I didn't mean to cut you off, is that if you ask him a question and ask him an honest answer, if he doesn't know the solution, because a lot of people who claim to be conservatives think they have solutions, and when you give him the dire circumstances that are in like Brownsville or in the South Bronx or places like that, he really say, I really don't know what the answer is to that. You know what I mean? He at least is honest about that. I will give him that. I posed that question and gave him a set of circumstances, and so I'll be honest with you, like, I don't know what to do about that. I can deal with that.
Right. Oh yeah, I've always said that he's ideologically consistent. Like he's definitely Captain America Negro through and through. You know what I'm saying? There's no contradictions with him. Unlike with the Black Power Americans, I can give you a laundry list of contradictions.
Yes, that is true.
You know, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if you just came on, right?
Yeah, I just started tuned in.
I was talking about the Black Power, you know, fist in the air, revolutionary white man is a devil dude who's outside of the system, but yet he has a mate who works for corporate America or a family member who's so that, you know, they can get a line of credit for him. They can be the buffer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. You know what that is? It's just the most extreme form of cognitive dissonance. You know, it's no different than someone who's in the KKK but they like Michael Jackson. That jigaboo still couldn't dance. You know, that one of them motherfuckers. So it's amazing because you know some of the it's clear as day and it's obvious on so many levels, but it's the fear of the unknown. And you know it's funny because, like, you know, for instance, I talked about this I think a week or two ago that they put 5 years ago CNBC did a story on Africa as the last frontier.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, once it makes it to CNBC, it's no longer like a hidden story. I mean, it's going mainstream, and basically these Caucasians say, y'all don't want it, so we're going to take it.
Yeah.
Run it, basically.
Yeah.
There's so many words. So, yeah, so do for self, you know, it has to be in the collective sense. Now, I think what people get confused is when someone says the collective, it doesn't mean you ain't going to do shit. It means you're going to make a contribution. And I think that's where, you know, because when people talk, you know, a lot of people don't know the subtle nuances to, like, you know, socialism, communism, totalitarianism. Sometimes people, you know, get all those things confused, but, you know, there's always in those setups where, for instance, in the Scandinavian countries where they're socialists, you know, you do have some people that, you know, really don't contribute in terms of they're not contributing their labor, but they're receiving benefits, right? And I think that's really what they think about when you talk about doing something on the scale of, you know, trying to build an independent nation state that you control its political and economic context. Everyone's all hands on deck. So everyone's going to receive benefit, but everyone's going to have shared sacrifice.
Right. And you know what I found interesting about the Scandinavian regions is how they govern and how they problem solve. Because I believe it was Sweden. Sweden factored in, and it really made sense when you think about it. They factored into what they actually spend on government programs.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, well, damn, we might as well give the money to the people. We come come out cheaper if we just give them a stipend for the month.
Yeah, because they don't have to have as much administration. It's
exactly.
Actually,
do you imagine what that would? Heads would explode in this country off of that concept.
How government is set up, it's not much difference between how government is set up and not-for-profits. One of the things with a not-for-profit is that a lot of the money goes to expense and administration, over 30-some-odd%. So that's why if you have a not-for-profit or foundation where they don't have expenses like that, and they're using volunteer work, and they're actually using 90 to 95% of the funds to go towards its intended goal, they tend to be more efficient. And that's really what they discovered, is that instead of using, bloated bureaucracies and having different people, you basically give people a certain standard of living, and then they actually go out and spend that money in the economy, and you'll collect tax revenue off of it.
Right. And that's the thing that I find impressive, because think about that and think about American politics. I mean, that is like something from freaking, the planet Ritz or something. It's like they couldn't even comprehend that idea. Just looking at the raw numbers, and saying, how much is it costing us to do things the way that we're doing it now compared to doing it this way? Just basics you run into the most when you like when people use that term "do for self" or whatever. Do you run into the nationalists the most or the individuals?
I run into the nationalists all the time. Always telling
more than individuals.
Yeah, no doubt.
Oh, okay. Well, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I would say on a percentage, about 75% of the people that say "do for self" to me are individualists.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, it's individual nationalists. You know what I'm saying? It's like you run into these certain dudes that's all about personally getting their thing off the ground. Like, I can name some names, but I really don't. I'm not giving these niggas this energy. But it's like certain. I could give you a scenario. There was a certain individual that we dealt with some years back, so that was saying, "We gonna do it all, but y'all gotta wait. Y'all gotta wait for me to finish what I'm doing, and then we can do it." You remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I remember that.
Like, nigga, what did you just say? Oh, you want us to wait for you? Okay, because you're the answer and shit. So so I ran into a lot of motherfuckers that it's always trying to benefit their own shit. You know what I'm saying? And the individual. I mean, sometimes I don't even subject myself to hanging with the individuals out there, because they 9 times out of 10 ain't thinking what I'm thinking. They love it. They love this place. You know what I'm saying? They're for this place. They 9 times they got a flat screen TV, they got an Xbox One, they got a car, they got a house, and that's cool for them. You know what I'm saying? That's cool for them. So they don't know about changing anything from around here. Or they're trying to get away from here. That's a whole nother situation that's not even on their mind. As a matter of fact, those are the same jokers that tell you, "Yo, I love what you post on your page, Dad, but yo, I just don't share it on mine." You know what I'm saying? It bugs me. I get that shit so much. "Yo, brother, you a real strong, powerful brother, man. I love what you're saying." I'm like, "Yo, spread the word, man." "Oh, no, I can't put that on my page because, people from my job is on my page. I don't want to know I be thinking like that." "Oh, okay. So you don't want to know people to know that you love your own people." "Okay, I get it."
Right.
I get it.
That's the part that really is really telling to me. It's like, I have workers and coworkers that are on my page.
Right.
And not all of them are, black.
Right.
Some of them are white.
Same here.
And does that stop the content that's on my page?
Hell no. It only increases
Exactly. If anybody looks at my page, I say what I want to say, because, listen, I've always had the opinion that my time is precious.
Right.
And I value my time. And nobody can tell me what to say on my time or in my world.
Exactly.
Nobody dictates to me like, "Oh, well, I think you..." No. I say whatever the hell I want to say.
Exactly. And
that's the reason why... Yeah, that's the reason why I'm not offended by when somebody else says whatever the hell they have to say. If it's their world and their reality, speak your mind.
Speak your mind. That's what I'm saying, and that's my whole thing. I got friends. I got friends that are in NYPD and ex-spouses that were in NYPD, and they hated the fact that I would speak on the injustice that NYPD is doing. And I told them, I said, well, the motherfucker, the best thing for you to do is to get off my page, because I'm gonna tell the truth. I don't give a fuck about your job and shit, or how you feel about what I say about your job. So that's just what it is. I ain't changing up for nobody. You know what I'm saying? And then as far as in talking about white folk, I got a lot of my white neighbors that live around my way that's friends of mine on Facebook, and I talk about white folks to their face. I don't give a damn, and they know how I feel. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I ain't trying to be your goddamn friend. I'm just saying, this is the way I am.
Yep.
This is the way
I am. You gotta be, if you're gonna like me or love me or whatever, then it's got to be me that you liking and loving. It can't be some version of what you want me to be.
Right. It's not going to be that. First of all, if I got to be your friend and be a watered-down version of myself to be your friend, that ain't no fucking friendship. That ain't no real friendship. All my friends, all my friends around me can be, I expect you to be yourself. That's it. Mm-hmm. Nobody but who you are. And then that's what it is. And if your personality coincides with who I am, I don't fuck with you. Like, it's certain people that we fuck with, and you know who I'm talking about. I don't fuck with that nigga for the simple fact that I can't be around a nigga like him. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not fucking with dudes. You know what I'm saying? I'll conversate with dude, but me and dude hanging out, nah. Because dude to fuck around and get somebody fucking killed with shit he be doing.
You know what this is a reality when it comes to people, I believe, is that people naturally gravitate toward genuine things. It doesn't matter whether the thing is the same as them, as long as it's genuine.
Right.
Like I was listening to Stone Cold podcast where he was interviewing Brock Lesnar, and during the callers, one of the callers called in and said, he said, Stone Cold, I loved you since you was in the WWE. He says, I'm basically like a vegan. I'm into, natural health and stuff like that. I'm like a liberal and blah, 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 blah. He said, but I love Stone Cold Steve Austin. He said, why is that? And Stone Cold just said, well, because... He said, and the guy was like, well, and Stone Cold is the exact opposite of that. He's like, beer drinking, hunting, basically like that redneck type personality. And he said, well, the reason why is because I'm genuine. I am who I am, and people are attracted to that.
Right.
And it's the truth. Right. It's just the reason why people are attracted right now to Donald Trump.
Yep. Well, yeah, because they know he's a fucking idiot, and they're attracted to the idiot part of him. You know what I'm saying?
They know that he's not brought and paid for.
Yeah,
what he is what he is.
What he is. It's like for a fact for the shit. Like when we talk about women, has it ever stopped niggas from getting pussy? It don't. Matter of fact, it gives me more ass when I speak the truth because they be like, at least he gonna keep it real with you.
Exactly.
He gonna keep it real with you. You know what I'm saying? And that's
exactly.
I've always learned. I've learned from my parents at a younger age. Be yourself, and everybody around you can't be nothing but true. Right. You know what I'm saying? And back when I was young, when my father and they used to tell me that, I didn't understand it. But now that I'm older, I truly understand what it means now. And that's why I've always been myself, and I always was able to pick a side. This nigga ain't real. That nigga ain't real. You know what I'm saying? And that's just what it is. And our circle is tiny.
And that also proves that do for self can be used in an individual perspective as well.
Right.
Because that's one example of you using it positively. Like doing for self in terms of being true to yourself. Being true to yourself and true to who you are. And that way, like you said, the people around you, it's like that definition of power that my brother always quotes this because he loves this quote. That power is the ability to define your reality and then have others submit to your reality as if it were their own.
Right.
That's power. that's something that the individual can do, and it's also something that the collective can do. But I think a lot of people involved in this so-called struggle can't make that connection. Like, they can't go from the individual perspective and see things from the nationalist perspective. They always default back to the individual. So that's why it's very frustrating for me when I have conversations with people who are like that. They can't understand where I'm coming from because I'm on a totally different wavelength than they are. They're on one wavelength and I'm on the other. So how are we going to have a conversation and understand each other? And that's why I get so frustrated. Why are you involved in collective discussions?
Right.
If you are individuals, we're talking about nationhood. We're talking about governments. We're talking about land. We're talking about policy. Why are you getting involved in that discussion if you're just about your job, where you live, and what car you're driving?
You shouldn't be
or your 401k.
Right. You should just be focused on that shit. Don't be focused on this shit, because this shit will make you give all of that shit up. So you might want to fucking focus on that shit, because that's your importance, and go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's just the way I see it, man. I mean, it's just like, fuck these idiots, is what I say to them, man. If they don't see it, if they don't see the lights dimming on their ass right now, so be it, dog. So, and I know a lot of people get upset when I put forth that attitude of I don't give a fuck what happens to you. You know what I'm saying? But what else do you want me to fucking do? Been telling you the same shit for years and years, and then nothing has fucking changed. I'm not gonna get myself to the stage of when I got to snuff you in this concentration camp, because I ain't gonna be in that motherfucker. So
exactly,
whatever happens, happens. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Whatever happens, happens. Man. You know what I'm saying? I'm never going to get to that stage of saying I'm going to stuff you in the car, because I'm not going to be there. I know it's coming. So the fact that I know it's coming.
They better hope that you're not there.
Oh, no. I ain't going to be there. I know one fucking fact that I ain't going to be there, because they're going to have to kill me before they get me in that motherfucker. I'm not the slave. I'm not going to be the one at the bottom of the fucking ship being brung some fucking where. Not alive. Fuck out of here. I'm not even going for that shit. Especially, I can't fall for shit that I already know is coming. That's that dog. Mark, we got too intelligent to fall for the trap that we already see. Fuck out of here. That's just like walking on a mountain and seeing the end of the mountain and continue to walk and thinking you can still walk on air. What the fuck are you done? That ain't gonna happen to me. But that's how these people are today. They see there's an end to the mountain, but they say, I'm a trust and I'm gonna continue to walk. Yeah, walk your ass off the cliff then.
So this is what the fuck is getting ready to happen. Like you said, they don't get any respect, so they want to come up with a do-it-yourself knowledge microwave kit and just give these general terms, Illuminati, blah, 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 blah. It's like, okay, so can you tell me anything about economic indicators? Right? Can you tell me the three branches of government and how they interact with the people and how things change and poll numbers? Can you study any actual science where you're gonna have to sit down for hours and read books and then be able to tell me in detail what's going on? No, they don't want to do that. They want to take the microwave route and just say Illuminati and vague things, similar to like church rhetoric. They want to give you vague things to where they can just be respected, just a little bit more knowledge than the next person, and lead people astray because they're lazy.
Yeah,
I think a lot. Like I said, if you want to impress me, you want to impress me. I'll be impressed when somebody can show me that they powered their house with an Ankh.
A power of the Ankh.
Don't go into this mystical, metaphysical crap with me unless you can show this in real time, practically.
Yep.
You're dead.
Right. What gets me is, can you explain why is it that niggas like that say that got like 200,000 views on their video, and you put out dynamite shit, can only get you break 1,000. It's like, I'm like, what the fuck? And then motherfuckers be having hundreds of thousands of views. I'll be like, let's see that black people have an appetite for bullshit.
I'll give you the answer real quick, because niggas don't want to deal with truth. They love fantasy. So when they get the fantasy shit, it's more attractive to them. The truth is that's convicting. So they don't want to.
Now, and the thing's about AN, we're whole up all our talents. And we were deceitful brothers. You know how we could probably cake off this movement. Because we're telling the truth. Because we're telling the truth, it's a little slower. You know what I'm saying?
No,
we're not going to sell out,
slow.
You know, we're not
look,
because
you actually have to see. Whole lip is actually, you got to think to grab those concepts. Like you're coming, it's just too much for people. They like things that make them feel good, easy rhetoric. And people, the white man is the devil. And then I could just easily do that, and I could see myself in that. But when you listen to Kala, you basically, that's just years of you reading books and breaking things down and going to this, and then y'all get to talking about technology, economics. They look, I don't even fit in this crowd. Let me go back to the white man, the devil, and
that's sad because I had brothers that are like that. I thought I had them I thought I was reaching them, and then they go back into the same, divulge into the same bullshit, you know? Because that's what all they know.
It's entertainment, man. It's all entertainment. Like
right.
We need to do.
You got it.
We need to get the spirit of truth, man. You think the spirit of truth would be down with the BAIO?
Bitch, it ain't what you're thinking. It ain't a damn thing about what you're thinking. Fuck your thoughts.
We need to get that guy, man.
If y'all listen to Michael, you listen to Michael Imhotep, the dude out of Detroit that does the African History Network show. If you listen to him, he talks about how when they have lectures, people will show up. You have like these Dr. Claude Anderson, or people that have studied for years and years, and they come in and give lectures. And he says he looks in the crowd and nobody's taking notes. Nobody's taking notes. So he's like, so if you're not taking notes, right, you're basically just sitting there being entertained, and that's what the whole point. And if you come to get the information,
if you're not taking notes, you could put out a podcast for that. Like I said on my show last night, you could put out a podcast. What do you mean? Oh, yes, right. You got to sell books and CDs and promote your self-promotion and take pictures and everything. Look
the revolution must be marketed.
And you know what? The reason why, like if you notice, me and Carla would do our shows and then we'll go on a hiatus. You know why?
Yep.
Because once you said all that needs to be said, the only thing to do after that is to do something. Talking about this stuff over and over and over again is not going to do anything. And that's why eventually, like, if you're a real, genuine person, you get tired of recycling bullshit, and you just like, you know what, let me take a break, man. I done said everything I need to say. And that's one thing. If I have to leave this planet Earth, I have a body of work where people will know exactly what I'm about.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I'm leaving something behind, you know what I'm saying? A roadmap. You know, people know the truth, you know? And the bottom line, that's exactly what we're doing.